When I think about Baltimore, it's one of America's oldest cities. There's like a rich and deep history here, and also the birthplace of some of America's most racist problems. Born and raised here in Baltimore, grew up off Poplar Grove and Pressbury. I am an activist, educator, and organizer. It's one of the protesters in Ferguson and in other cities across the country, and I'm now running to be the 50th mayor of Baltimore City. On August 16th, I was sitting on my couch. I saw it on Twitter, what was happening in Ferguson, and I said, I want to at least go bear witness. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I waited for one of my good friends to wake up, and I called him like, hey, I think I'm gonna go to St. Louis. It feels like the right thing to do. So like 8 o'clock in the morning, I get in the car and I drive 9 hours to St. Louis. I don't know anybody. I put on Facebook that I'm going, and that was the beginning of my story. The second that I was there, it was the first time I got tear gas, and I understood the problem differently and was like, I'll do whatever I can to make sure this never happens to people. When I think about the connection to education, for me, it was this thing about you have to be alive to learn, right? That I'm doing all this work to make sure a kid has a great teacher every single day, but Tamir Rice will never have a high school teacher. Mike Brown will never know a college professor. It was in that moment that I shifted the way I thought about what I could do in the world. And when I think about running for mayor, so much of this work has been about telling the truth in public. And we told the truth in public with our bodies in protest. We told the truth in public as we pushed in hearings and commissions and meetings. And that work has to continue, which is why I'm running to be mayor. And then obviously worked in school systems. Like that was me trying to figure out how do we make systemic change? Like how do we actually change systems and structures, right? So you think about redlining, and the history of it here is just so deep. Hyper-segregation. It has historically been a city that has struggled with drug addiction. Both my parents were drug addicts. My father raised us. My mother left when I was 3, and she is now back in our lives, which is good. And from some of the TV shows that people know the city for, like there's poverty has hit here in a way that has rippled across the region. It's also a city of like deep talent and beautiful communities and so many people who like want the city to be strong and to be better. There are people invested in making the city a better city. Again, it is about having a mayor who like understands how the pieces connect, but I understand them at a fundamental level in a way that will impact the way that I make decisions. So I understand the relationship between vacant and abandoned homes and food deserts and public health, right? That there's a correlation between cockroaches and asthma, for instance, that changes the way that we think about the vacant and abandoned home strategy, or it influences that. Somebody's so funny, they tweeted me, while I'm stuck at Penn, I'll start hammering down my Baltimore mayoral choice. DeRay, got anything I can read about transport? And I just saw it. I think I'm the only candidate with anything about transportation. People are just really funny. Whatever gets them to read it though, I think people can get the best sense of me day to day, moment to moment on Twitter. And I love Twitter. It is like the friend that's always awake. Like people ask if this is serious or not, right? Like that's sort of their question. And I think that because I have a big social media platform or a presence in social media, that I think people wanted to see the ground game. And the reality is, like, I've been talking to people since day one, but they haven't necessarily seen it through social media. So when I retweet national news articles, people are like, you're distracted. It's like, well, it took me 12 seconds. I also like am a citizen in a larger context too, and it's important to me to stay abreast on the news. But it's powerful to see people engage with me engaging with other people. I think, frankly, a lot of people they've never had their door knocked on before, especially not by the candidate. So that has been some feedback. And I'm ready to talk about the issues, right? Like I want to talk, I had this great conversation with a guy yesterday around the police, right? And like we went sort of into the nitty gritty around what change could look like. And we disagreed about some things, but agreed about so many other things. I want to be in a position where I can implement change that like actually impacts people's todays and tomorrow. Like that's really important to me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to April 26th.